heard the bathroom, they're having issues with the floor rotting out or whatever, but that's another.
Who did the,
Yeah.
who used this at your last meeting? Was it planning board or zoning board?
We didn't have it at planning, I'm trying to think if I had it in zoning, I remember I put it away at zoning, I believe, but planning board, we were downstairs, so we didn't use it. But Monday we were downstairs because the elevator. Was it is it something not right with it?
They just have their snacks all over it.
And what?
Their snacks all over it.
That was not us, because I took it apart.
Oh, I'm sorry. I went to my
I
left
understand,
first.
I understand.
I'll try to be fast, John. I'll just make my excellent go.
That's what I do.
Email still says Captain Steve Ackerstrom, and you just change it to Chief.
That's in your system. Change it to whatever you want.
So if Ruth would've had this done a long time ago, if she'd just paid attention.
I was signing at the same time I can,
I watched you.
I can, multitask. I can't talk, but I can.
No, you can't.
Because when I sent it to you, it was cheap.
Oh, well, Devin's thinking with this guy, so she was clear.
That's just the title of it, that's not a.
No, she's upset on her behalf.
And evidently, some of the funds for the fairground were cut out by UNH.
Who's upset now?
They cut out some of the funds for kids for the fairground, for the fair. Yeah, they're kind of putting up, well, 'cause what did they
I
cut
thought
their
the guy,
budget?
I thought the guy that was really in charge of the fairgrounds was the fellow who's on the
Yeah.
construction bit, over Salmon. He's the one that always came before us.
I'm gonna go to Monday night's meeting with them and
Cause he was the one
find
that came
out.
and they wanted to fix the wall, fix something. He came before
Yeah,
us.
yeah. Well, I'll know a little bit more after Monday. But we're gonna try to, we're already gonna schedule an open show during the fair in August.
I don't use any titles in front of them. If I want to send an email to you, I just type A and you pop Colleen C and she pops up.
And the airplanes.
Right, those are way down the other end. Those
But
are
they,
cool.
but when they take off right over the barns.
Yeah.
And right.
No, they won't. No. And have you ever seen those little planes? Those are pretty cool.
They're all kind of fly over my house.
Yeah, oh, do they? Oh, that's neat.
We never froze hiring at the last meeting again.
Supposed to?
We never made the motion. I just thought about that after we left the meeting.
We didn't freeze it, I thought it was so
It
frozen.
was frozen up until that budget meeting is what you're.
So we wanna freeze, unless, well, basically you freeze hiring.
Yeah, with the exception that the board can, with the exception that the board can approve it. I just thought about that after we left the meeting that night, but it was already so late.
Alright.
Good morning, John. How are you?
Just wonderful.
What is the...
Thank you.
Must have been when I was talking. Good thing you check on me. Guess we'll find out. Special event at Sergeant Park. No, I don't think so. I'm not sure. Guess, no, they're just, their appointment on the Heritage. They're double-sided, we're saving paper. We're printing both sides. You see? We're printing both sides.
Do we have non-public? after you sign those, I need the purple one, cause I haven't signed that one yet.
Okay. I'll bring them all down to you after.
Sure, perfect.
Put that back down in the sun and get it back.
Very first one.
No, I didn't, he did. I'm just passing it on.
Oh, payback, huh?
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right. I love it. So, Steve, do you go to the Belknap County Fair? No more.
Yeah, we did a bunch of work there, but, to help out with building some stalls in there, but it's just half the floors are concrete, half are dirt.
Yeah,
They have to be all concrete,
yeah,
because otherwise it's pointless to do it. They just didn't have the facilities to do it. It's kind of a waste of time. And
Yeah.
again,
yeah.
very little return and
Well, we had a meeting on Sunday at the house, and we probably have as many as 14 kids that want to participate in the, cause we lean more to the horses because, right? But, there definitely seems to be true interest, because the problem is, Steve, to pack up and go to a horse show now, you're not talking a couple $100, you're talking a couple $1,000. These kids can't do it. And I think what happened, and you saw it through the years, that the kids with the horses, just horses, they got pushed out by these people that had $10,000, $20,000 horses, and that's not what 4-H is, all right? So what we're trying to do is get it back in line, because now what's happening is these people that take off of they can't afford it anymore. It's just too expensive. So we have a really good group, we feel, and, you know, and it's a case of trying to bring it back, okay? We're pretty sure the horse part of it, we can get it all donated. We've, you know, redoing the footing. I guess the footing is horrendous again in that rink. Because I think the problem is that ground is sand, way underneath it's sand. So I think, you know, we brought stuff in, but over time it goes out on everybody's feet. So we're gonna try to, so whatever the date is in August when it's the fair, Sunday of the fair, we're gonna sponsor and have, you know, I don't know if it will happen this year, because there's a lot of work to be done, but we're definitely really planning to, you know, get some. Well, it's interesting, and I'll know more. I'm gonna go to a meeting Monday night, and it will be interesting because, funds have been cut by the county as well as the university. I didn't realize that a lot of funds came from there, because what they cut millions out of the university system, I guess. But, yeah, so we're gonna try to, work on, we're having an open, well, you know, we're having an open house at the house, later in the month, and like we're doing we got like the vet coming and, you know, that kind of stuff. And, we're definitely gonna push the 4-H and try to get that going again, you know. Of course it is, and it's sad, and you know, it seems like everybody's starting with these little farmy things and everything, so that's what it was originally.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I see a lot of like small families doing it. They don't really have.
they don't have the means, right?
Yep. So it's
Yeah.
like a guide in the right direction, but
Yep.
they have their own thought processes and how we're gonna do this.
Right. Well, our thought is, we have 3-4 lesson horses that we have anyways, And you could use them a couple times a day. You could have a lead line, and then you could have a walk trot. You could use the same one, and, you know, the kids that really take it seriously, you know, will truck the animals up and, you know, just help them that way with, obviously, parents are gonna have to volunteer and, you know, which they seem to be, right now, they seem to be willing, so.
Until the day of.
Well, you know, we have a lot of really, we've got some really interested parents that are bringing their kids. They're bringing them once a week for, paying for lessons and whatever, so, you know, we had a little camp in February vacation, and our camp, the end of the month is full, and she's doing 2 weeks this summer, and it's already full. So, I look at it this way, it's 6, 7 kids that aren't sitting at home in front of the TV or whatever.
Yeah.
There,
Thanks.
yeah. Never cleaned a stall that week or anything. They were groomed all the horses, they did all that stuff, so. You know, and it worked good. The vet came, they dealt with that. We had the massage lady there, you know, they learned about that. Yeah, a lot of good things. Are we ready? No, not quite. Do you want me to start?
No, you can start.
Okay.
I'm fine.
All right. If I could ask everyone to silence their cell phones, please.
Recording in progress.
We're live? All right. If we could rise for the pledge, please, this morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. If I land on the floor, that won't be pretty, will it? Okay, we have minutes of our Board of Selectmen public hearing that was held on March 19th. Could I have a motion
I'll make that motion.
and a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, those passed. If you could put those down there. Thank you. That was me. Okay, we're gonna start with to review an application for a special event at Sergeant Park.
Yes, included in your packet is a special event application. These usually don't get to you, but where it is town-owned property, we figured that you should have the say whether or not you want to allow this on town property. So this is an event sponsored by one church. They're going to have a Easter egg hunt, 3 Easter egg hunts for 3 different age groups. They're gonna provide food and crafts and a large bounce house. Karen is here if you have any further questions for Karen on this, and if you have any questions,
You're talking about a sound system. What kind of a sound system we talking?
have they indicated what kind of a sound system they're having?
Let's see. It sounded like it was very small. It's a very, just a,
Like a PA
like
system?
a little PA system,
Oh, so it ain't gonna be real loud. I mean,
correct.
Are we, so with them not having event insurance, does that put any liability back onto the town?
Thank you.
They say they don't have.
Yeah, on the back of the page.
They have no insurance?
No event
Where is
insurance.
that?
On the back page. Flip it on the,
Yeah, it says
Yeah.
that you have event insurance, and we can request that they get a rider from it, because they would have insurance for church. so
Yeah.
We can request that they provide a rider.
yeah, I just don't want any additional liability into town with
Especially
people.
bounce house.
Yeah, yeah.
So that caught my attention. The other concern for my department is just parking, because of the sheer number of people, so we're gonna even with like the Town of Belmont parking,
That's
you've
not
got 50 or 60 cars.
Yeah, and they're having 12 to 20 staff. Never mind who's gonna show up.
Sorry, you just throw that out.
Steve, any comments?
No, I think parking's probably the biggest issue, as far as PA system, I mean,
It's from 10 to 1, 10 to 1:30, I mean, it's in the middle of the day,
it's
but,
not gonna buy like the whole or anything
Yeah.
like that.
It's just a small PA that like announced,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
go.
and they're expecting 250, they said, because that probably is kids, I would assume a lot at Easter egg hunt.
Right, and it's like, that basically, it's not all at once.
Sure, Yeah.
Age brackets.
okay, all right.
I think if they have the parking in the middle school, the sidewalks can be used.
I mean, it's Sunday, it's not like it's during school hours or whatever. Mhm. Any other, No.
Concerns insurance.
as long as the insurance and,
They're renting a porta potty. Yeah.
oh, are they? Yeah.
Yeah, it says on the front.
Yeah,
One of the
yes.
questions they had was, could they drop them Thursday afternoon? I guess they get a better rate if they drop them Thursday and pick them up Monday, but they'll just lock them when they're not.
Sure, yeah, all right. Hot dogs and bottled water, if anybody's interested. So we need a motion,
Sure, if you wanna make a motion that you approve the event on town property with the, conditions that they provide proof of insurance and they get a approval from the school to park there. In the middle school parking lot.
okay, so moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposition, hearing none. Heritage Commission appointments, so this must be an appointment to reappoint Jack Donovan and Vicky Donovan. I don't think there is, well, I won't
I'd make a
assume
motion-
that.
I'd make a motion
Backside.
to approve them both.
Backside,
Oh, backside of this one. I'm like, wait a minute.
backside, we're saving paper, backside. Can I have a motion for that?
I just gave you
Oh, you did, I'm sorry.
I'll
Do I,
second it.
second?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposition? Hearing none.
And I'll just add the term expiring 2028.
And then we'll reappoint them again, no problem. Okay, Belmont Board of Selectmen schedule. This is for meeting schedules?
Yes, at your first,
Right.
meeting of the year, you guys were not able to settle on your schedule for the upcoming year, so figure we'd give it another go if anyone has any ideas. I did provide you with a, kind of a mock-up of the month and the meetings, you know, what takes place where, and I gave you some suggestions just for you to ponder and consider.
I actually had a couple people, when we were talking about that, was the fact that, to be fair to everyone, that maybe we could look at first meeting of the month be in the morning, and our department heads would basically be required to be there. It's during the day, it's during work hours, and then maybe the second meeting of the month be in the afternoon or whatever time is designated. And the department heads would only have to attend if there was something that basically pertained to their department, that they feel they would have to be there. Felt that was my idea of a good compromise. That was my thought.
Okay.
What time are you proposing to
I
start
did,
that meeting? On
that
Wednesday?
was,
So.
I know that Travis,
It's not about me. It's again, it's the voters wanted it, and I'm still gonna push for the night meetings for both.
yep,
I thought 4:30 was a good time. I've seen it on
Oh, it
I've
doesn't
seen
matter
online.
when.
It's still too early.
yeah, it doesn't
The
matter.
only interference that we would ever have if we moved it to a Thursday would be Heritage, who doesn't use any audio or video, so they could move rooms. Because I obviously was on Heritage or am on
But
Heritage,
the
whichever.
time is still an issue. You can't expect people to work till 3:30 or 4 o'clock and be here at 4 o'clock meeting, whether it be the public or our employees.
Sorry.
I
We're-
think if you're gonna have a night meeting, you gotta have a night meeting.
We're the only town in the county that has a meeting before 4:30. It's, every town asks the department heads to come to meetings
I
after
don't think it's
hours.
gonna serve the purpose that I understood the voters wanted. I don't think you're making it easy for the voters to show up at 4:30.
I'm saying 6 at this point. We're the only town in the county that has a meeting before 4:30 or whatever time the earliest one is. I think it's Tilton does it at 4. So their department, I know it's gonna suck, it's a change, but their department heads make it work.
If we do this, I suggest we do it for a 3-month trial period, and then we'll look and see how many people show up at these meetings and participate in them. If we have the same participation as we're having today at this meeting, take the employees out of here, pretty scarce room, Murph. No, I mean, you know, no offense, and the reporter. I think we should try it for 3 months, and then see if we're gonna continue it. But I still think it should be, I agree with you, it should be a later meeting than 4 o'clock. And I really don't want it at night, but I have to yield to the,
And I will say, there was an article in the paper from the vice chair of the Meredith board, and they had issues with their budget being passed before, and she says in there that she thinks what helped them pass a budget was the image of more transparency. Even though they said they had nothing going on wrong, the image of them listening to the voters helped them pass their budget. I mean, we're in the situation now where 2 defaults in. I don't want to see us hit a third. We were super close to the last one, 24 votes. Probably could have made an easy difference if more people were able to interact with us.
So, I kinda like Ruth's idea.
Glad somebody
They-
does.
they- Well, have the first one in the mornings.
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and because, well, I think that would work out good. Trouble is, you'd have to move the second one up hourly wise. You can't have that at 4 o'clock. It'd have to be up around
Oh,
5:30,
of course. Oh,
5:30.
no, I didn't set a time. That was just a suggestion.
Because 4 o'clock is just, people are still working at
Of
that
course.
time.
If
Of
you
course.
recall at our last meeting, I made a suggestion at 6 o'clock,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that fell by the wayside.
Today's the 1st, right? No,
Second.
it's the
Second.
second, yeah.
This calendar's correct.
Huh?
This calendar's correct. It's the 2nd.
Okay. I'm like, all of a sudden I'm having a brain cramp. Okay. So,
Not you.
so what you're saying is the next one would be the 15th, so it doesn't.
The 16th.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I'm not trying to correct you. Just don't want the
But why
dates
does
mixed
it
up.
have to be the 16th?
Well,
Why
it's
wouldn't it be
Wednesday.
the 15th?
That's Wednesday, the 16th.
16th to
calendar's-
me
this
says
calendar-
Thursday.
Yeah, the numbered dates are in the wrong corner of the box. So
All right, that's what's got me all confused. I'm looking at this saying,
normally on the calendar, the number of the day is to the left of the word. That one's to the right, so it just looks awkward.
all right, okay, so. That's why
I
said,
see where
"What's
you're
today?"
grabbing, where you're looking at it, but yeah.
Yeah, if you go to
All right.
Saturday.
No,
It just visually
it's-
looks funny when you can't see the
It's just got to do with the
lines.
way this is lined up is what it does, okay? I'm gonna put a line down here so I can tell the difference. All right, so today is the 2nd. We met at 10 o'clock. So what you're saying is Wednesday, the 16th, you would meet at what time? 6?
I said
I'd say
6.
6 would be good.
Okay, all right,
People that do have to work don't get, even the shops, the mills,
of course,
But this is gonna be a test situation.
for 3 months.
Yeah. Oh,
So
that
are
long?
you saying, no,
I mean,
April, May, June,
because,
April, May, June?
because we've been having meetings during the day for, well, since I've been on the board, 8 years, and we've never had a problem. And we've never had a budget be shot down either. But we'll try anything, see how it works, I guess, and then, make everybody happy, or try to anyway. But I know Travis here, he works during the day, but then again, he kinda knew what our meetings were when he ran for that office too.
It's not, I make it work. I've made it work for the past 2 years. It's not about me. I would, if the votes felt differently on what the petition said, I wouldn't be harping on this tree anymore. But the votes fell 75% in favor of us having night meetings.
But again, we had information from two attorneys that said that we still have the right to change the meeting.
I'm not, yeah, I don't disagree. We have the right to have our meetings when we want to. That was a temperature check of what the public wants, and what the public wants is now what I'm echoing. I will make whatever meeting we set. I've done it for 2 years. I'll continue to do it.
Okay, so who wants to make a motion?
I'll make it. And we have, our first meetings at 10 o'clock on the first or second, whatever,
Or the first of the month?
first of the month, yeah. And the second one at 6 o'clock.
Wednesday, we're staying with Wednesday.
Third
Yeah.
Wednesday, right? Not second Wednesday.
Third Wednesday.
And obviously, for 3 months. And obviously, once in a great while, we've experienced having to get together for a, what do we call it, a emergency meeting that's posted accordingly, and then.
Before we get sidetracked, I'll second Sonny's motion.
Okay, and then we do that accordingly, I guess. All right. Did you get that? All right. We have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
I knew that was coming.
Well, it's, and this is
Just
for,
trying to stick with the will of the voters. They voted
this
and
was
they
for
said,
3 months,
so.
correct? So this will be for April, May, June.
Also, consideration that it is more work for the town hall staff and trying to keep everything, balanced and straight. This one's during the day, this one's at night. And since it's only a temporary thing, I think that we should do 6 o'clock, both meetings.
That we should what?
That we should do 6 p.m. at both meetings.
Can't hear her.
She wants, she just, she
Voicing her
feels it.
objection.
Huh?
She was voicing her objection
She
and
was
what she
voicing
preferred.
her objection to, the 10 o'clock meeting. She felt it should be at 6, so. What was I just gonna say something and I forgot. Okay, so that passes. So we'll move on. So our next meeting will be April 16th at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. And I don't know what the following meeting date is. I only have April. All right? And it will be posted accordingly, despite even the comments about today's meeting. It was posted accordingly. So, okay. Other new business?
I have a question.
What?
Will department heads be required to attend these meetings?
Only, well, I guess it,
We've never been required. We come here as a consideration for you
Yes.
guys if you have questions to help you.
right.
So,
And my,
if there's nothing on the agenda or you
Right.
do not request us, do we have to be at these meetings? That's all I'm asking.
I would say no.
I think
No.
I don't mind if we are,
No.
but I'd just like to know if we are.
in reality, and correct me if I'm incorrect, but in reality, this is our business meeting, okay? We don't really have to have anybody here. It is a business meeting. We are required, we are elected officials. We were elected, I assume, unless I'm, pardon? We were elected to run the town. We have always, as a board, have been very open and tried to, and obviously make it available at some point during the meeting for public comment, but in reality, we do not have
But
to.
as a department head, I realize that some of your decisions are made based on
Yes.
our opinions.
That's exactly right.
And I understand the feeling if you want us to be.
During the day, I think it would be good to have you all here, department head. But at nighttime, I don't believe you're required to be here. I mean, 'cause we're gonna get what information
We
we,
never have been required to, but
right.
as a courtesy, like we come here as a courtesy to, if you have questions, to assist you.
That's why we'd like to have one during the day so that you would be here, so we can discuss these problems, and then at
And we got on
nighttime.
a sign the manifest as a courtesy.
Yes, Travis.
Off of what you just said. So theoretically, and what I've seen and what the county does, usually the department heads never show up unless they're specifically agended on the item. It's something that directly impacts their department. Normally, all information that would be general information would come through the county administrator or town administrator in our case to us. So usually the department heads only show up if it's directly impacting their department, is what I've seen through night meeting stuff. Not saying we don't want you here. I love your information.
Feel free, I mean, as a department, I would imagine all the department heads would agree with it. If you feel it necessary for us to be there, all you have to do is reach out and let us know.
Right. I think it's, you know, and again, 6 o'clock meetings, after everybody's been on the job, and I know the highway department starts really early, fire department could be out half the night, police department could be out half the night, and then having to come back in for a night meeting. I know, you know, I've had more than one department head say, right? So at least this gives you the flexibility.
We're a lot fresher at 10:30 in the morning, I can tell you that.
Oh, well, I think everyone is.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep,
but, like I said,
yep,
your call.
okay. All right, good. Other new business?
Yes, Peggy had a request.
So I'm looking to bring on another part-time officer, if the board will allow. The part-time officer is Vinny Bicetti, who retired from here, and he's looking to come back part-time to help us out with some administrative stuff, some, evidence processing. There's a lack of, presence on the, crash team for the county. He's an accident reconstructionist, so we'd like to put him on that to help out, since we have a lot of accidents that require them, and primarily it's Laconia and Guilford who has reconstructionists, so, I'd like to bring him on part-time.
You had the money in the budget for this anyways, right?
Yes.
So I'm all for it. Man, get a couple of them.
Oh, we do, we have a few, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Worked out great.
Yep, I think it's
No.
great.
Question.
Go ahead.
What do we do when we start filling up part-time, but then we do end up hiring full-time? How do you balance that with having?
So it's a separate line item.
No, how do you balance it for work, like giving them work?
So it's different duties, so a full-time officer, so he's going to, and then part-timers, for instance, like right now, the prosecutor who retired is back working part-time.
Okay, yeah.
He's doing case prep for court. What other part-timers will do is we'll have one part-timer come out and just do traffic. They'll come out for community events. In this situation, he can go out for accident reconstruction. It's not having to pay overtime for somebody else to do it. It gives us more boots on the ground when we need it.
And do you feel comfortable having still enough money in your part-time budget line?
I've gone through and I have in my head how many hours a week we can work our part-timers.
Okay.
I can't go over that.
Okay.
And they know that, so. I've told my people who do the scheduling that we can't schedule any more than this amount of hours a week and make it work.
Got one more, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is Vinny's a former chief, right?
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable leading the reins still and having 2 former chiefs below you? Like, knowing that you are in charge? Okay.
Absolutely.
The knowledge.
But it's the knowledge. I just want to make sure he's still comfortable being, he's the head of that department, and make sure he knows it's his choice no matter what the other 2 say. It's your choice.
Absolutely.
Because it ultimately comes back on you.
100% confident in that, and they both told me that, so,
And I believe you've worked with them all
yes,
also.
yes.
It's just a little different when
Oh,
you're now your boss, your former boss's boss.
Well, it has to be for them.
I think it's
Right?
rewarding for them, honestly.
I think it's more of I think I would find it more taxing maybe for them to readjust as,
Perhaps.
yeah, yeah. Steve just smiles, it's okay.
There's more underneath that smile.
Awesome. Do we need, I'm sorry.
I have a question regarding a different issue.
Sure.
Have you been asked about this House bill about state inspection on motor vehicles? Your opinion if that should be passed?
I haven't been asked, but I think that, if that should pass, we're gonna see a lot more cars on the road that shouldn't be on the road, which leads to more accidents.
More fatalities, more
I have a good feeling
serious
that
injuries.
will be killed in the Senate.
Do what?
I have a good feeling that would be killed in the Senate.
I hope so.
I hope
You
so.
know, there's vehicles out there that the frame's rotted out, right? That shouldn't be inspected. And if that doesn't happen, they're gonna keep driving. People don't get the brakes and, like, there's just so many factors. I mean, you know, the
I do know.
safety things, you know, it can lead to a lot more problems.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I just was curious if anybody asked the local chiefs.
Interesting.
I'm not in the State House anymore.
Huh?
So I'm not in the State House anymore. I don't.
All right. Do we need a motion for that?
Sure, we should do a motion to, allow the hiring of a I'll have the hiring of a part-time officer, right?
Yeah.
Part-time officer made by Betty.
I'll make the motion of what she said.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Sharon seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
Ruth,
Yes,
do you mind if I make the motion for the?
yes, go for it.
So we, at the last, prior Board of Selectmen meeting, we had a motion to freeze hiring up until our budget meeting. That technically expired at our budget meeting. So I'd like to make the motion again to freeze hiring, contingent upon coming to the board for approval before any hiring. So basically it falls on us to say, yes, you can hire somebody, with the exceptions that we made at the Board of Selectmen meeting, which was the prosecutor, the dispatcher, and for her to hire her camp stuff. Sorry, Danielle, her, I lost it for a second.
That's all right. I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none. Okay. Any other new business?
No, not in business.
Okay, old business. What? I'm sorry.
Kinda new, I just kinda wanna throw this out there, seeing
What's
as
that?
we're on a fall budget. This weekend I got called in because we had a gas leak in the fire station, or smell of gas, I should say. So Saturday I was there for a couple hours, they called it back out, service, along with Patrick and Irving Service. Today I've got them back out there again, they found it the wrong, right now we have no propane. So they have the wrong, gas gauge or pressure gauge on one of them. So we have two 1,000 gallon tanks, one read empty, and the other one read 70%, which they're supposed to feed off each other, so it should have both been at 70% hypothetically, or both zero. So we got the service person there, today I went to try to turn the oven on, the oven wouldn't come on, it's propane. And, so they're fixing that right now. So the service calls, Patrick's working on actually getting those kind of null and void, because they didn't fix the problem, they thought it was something else. This morning we have absolutely no heat in the building, but Irving's over there right now taking care of that stuff, but I just wanted to kind of keep you guys up with that, seeing that, where we're at with stuff.
So you didn't lose the propane out the top, did you?
I don't think so. I think it was empty, and it was
And it
reading.
didn't swap over to the other one,
Well, it's
basically?
supposed to be leveled, so it was empty, and
Because it
one
wasn't
was
working.
reading 70%,
Mhm.
and you have those meters now that are on the tanks, so it's going back to Irving, saying that they're at 70%, they don't need fuel.
Got it.
So,
Huh,
we had nothing running,
great,
that's where we're at.
all right.
Do we have any idea of what that repair is gonna end up being roughly?
I don't know, they
Should
are
be on them.
replacing,
Should be.
they've gotta replace a couple,
Valves.
valves and
Whatever.
whatnot, but the biggest thing would have been the service calls this weekend.
Oh, for the weekend,
Because it was Saturday and Sunday.
yeah, but it was
So
their
Patrick's
issue.
actually, he's working on that right now, because he's still with them right now,
All right,
that's why he's not here.
all right,
So,
cool.
but I just wanted to give you guys an update for it.
Yeah.
So everyone's wearing, long johns and
It's pretty
gloves
cold-
today.
It's pretty cold these days right now.
It doesn't, it gets cold fast.
That's why I came to the meetings.
Get the heat from the mill.
Don't warm up. Good show.
Yeah, but it's reading 70.
Okay, any other old business?
Sorry, it was half stretch, half flat, half. Jen has an update from a few meetings ago, in regard to John's question about the Canterbury School ballots.
Yes,
Oh, the ballots.
yes.
Oh,
What I believe the question asked was, what happens to the ballots after the election? Am I correct in that?
My question was, for 18 years that I've been a selectman, and our former tax collector, I'll give you an example. One year we had a pretty good, about 4 years ago, we had a real snowstorm on election day. Canterbury did not have a vehicle in service that could drive up here with their ballots after their voting. So Chief Lewandowski took his four-wheel vehicle that he drives, was driving at that time, and he went down and got them. And we met him at the town hall, and they were secured in our vault. They weren't kept down in Canterbury, and that was a real strong issue. And when I mentioned to Cynthia that we had the lady that's in charge of finance come to our meeting and stand there and say there's been a problem down there, they can't bring them up here, and they'll bring them up on Tuesday. And she referred that to our moderator, who again repeated that, got the attention of the people in the gymnasium, and repeated that statement. That's not acceptable. Those ballots should have been here, whether we had to go get them, they should have been locked in our vault. And that's the way it's always been, and that's the way it should be.
Okay, so,
And that's my question, were they here that night?
no, not from Canterbury.
And that's my real question as to how do we know they weren't tampered with?
Okay, let me start by saying the school ballots have never been put in our vault after an election.
Then you better call Miss Cynthia.
I will, absolutely. So what the prior process is the town of Canterbury does a traditional town meeting. They are not SB2, they do not have a ballot counting machine. So previously to this election, what would happen is at the end of the night, at the end of their election, town meeting night, all of the ballots for the school only would be brought up and put through the school machine in the high school. And then they would be boxed up the same way that I do our town ballots, and then they're taken to the SAU and stored in their vault there. On the Friday, I was in touch with Debbie Thompson from the SAU, and the Friday before the election, Jim Miller, who's the school moderator, or he's the moderator from Canterbury, was at a moderator workshop, and at the meeting it came up about how cooperative schools were handling elections and that it was not in accordance to the statute. She does say that she remembers herself, Debbie Thompson, and Brenda going to meetings when the district became SB2, and for years they've been following what they believed was the correct manner. I do have an RSA here from the Secretary of State's office, and in accordance to what happened on the election day, we have a voting machine in Belmont because our town people voted to have our ballots counted that way. Per the RSA, I'll just read it to you. In the case of cooperative school districts, within 24 hours, the town clerk shall forward to the school district clerk a list, which this would be the Canterbury town clerk, forward to the school district clerk a list of the number of votes received by each candidate for school district office and for each question. The list shall be signed by the town clerk, Canterbury, and witnessed by the town moderator, Canterbury's. Upon receipt of the list, the cooperative school district shall record the results from each town and shall, when the results from all towns within the district have been recorded, announce the name of every person voted for, the number of votes for each person. So they had 24 hours to get Canterbury's results to the SAU, which they did. I do have the results here. And in speaking with Deb, I did ask her, I asked her where the ballots went after the election, who handles the ballots, and has anything changed in this process recently. She said this year Canterbury kept the ballots that were cast there. Their town clerk kept all their ballots. Brenda and Heidi, who is the school moderator for Belmont, and the box of ballots in Belmont, the night of the so they sealed up the box of ballots in Belmont the night of the election and brought them back, and she, Debbie Thompson, brought them back to the SAU office and have them stored in our vault. In the past, ballots cast in both Canterbury and Belmont would be sealed in boxes, and I would bring them back here to store in the vault. So they've always been stored at the SAU office.
I would ask you once more to call Cynthia and talk to her about this, because that's not my understanding from her whatsoever.
Well, I will say that I've been working in the office that I now head for a lot of years, and at the end of an election night, those ballots never came back to our vault, personally witnessed. So I will happily call Cynthia and chat with her.
Because she and I unloaded them.
Yeah,
along with Mark's help.
yeah, well, we
And I didn't
have
bring it
our,
up.
we put our town ballots in the fall at the end of the night. I have to bring
Yeah.
the police
I
department
know
generally
that.
brings me back,
So,
but,
I have a question real quick.
Sure.
So with Shaker being SB2, why do they not have a ballot machine for Canterbury? Because they have their own ballot machine for us. That's not our ballot machine next to our boxes.
I believe, no, that's the SAU.
So why don't they have one for Canterbury?
I believe it's because the town of Canterbury's residents didn't vote to have a voting machine count their,
But the
Their
district
votes.
is ran by both towns, so it's whatever, I feel like whatever happens in one town should be happening the same in the other town, because it's a cooperative school district.
yes.
So if they're SB2 and we are putting our ballots
If
into
our
their,
SAU is SB2,
yeah,
if you feel
that's what I
that-
mean, if the SAU is SB2 and they have a ballot machine for our election, they should have one in Canterbury for their election as well. Therefore, it's a ticket tape that's fully done up, same way in both towns. I see where, I agree, I think what they did was the proper channels. I just feel like that school should have a ballot box there, so they have a ticket tape, just like we do, put the ticket tapes together for their school clerk, and then they have an election done.
Or to go back to, because this is the first year it's ever been done the way.
Yeah, or
that
go
it
back to
has,
doing it the
or
way
go
they did.
back to bringing the ballots up to the.
I feel like there has to be
High school.
done the same way in both towns, because we're a cooperative school district. I mean,
Okay.
what's good for one's good for the other.
I will look into that and.
I would
report
agree with
back
that.
Next meeting, if that's.
Yeah, I would definitely.
We actually would
understand
sit
the
there and
thought
wait for
process.
those ballots to
Yeah,
come.
yeah, we did.
And then we would sit there and watch them feed them into the machine here, yeah.
Well, and it's just clarity because, I mean, the school district's supposed to be a joint own governing body. So it's supposed to be basically our border where the Canterbury goes away when we're talking about SAU.
Right, yes, and I will get that information, I believe, I see the thinking and the way that they did it, they don't have a voting machine in the town of Canterbury, so therefore, they believe that their ballots should be hand counted. But I do also agree
Yeah,
with you.
I believe the
that
SAU should buy one and put it
Yeah,
there.
I would think that they,
they have enough money.
They got plenty of
So,
money.
Yeah, so I will look into that with the Secretary of State's office and find out what
Thank
the
you.
perfect thing to do is and get back to you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Quick question on that, were the votes counted that day, or were they counted the next day, or do you know that?
They were counted that night, and then they had 24 hours to
report.
give the results.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, other old business?
Nope, that's all I have.
All right,
I just do have a non-public later.
okay.
Boy.
Anything else? No, all right. Our next meeting, our next meeting will be Wednesday, April 16th at 6 PM here.
Correct.
Right. Non-public, 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2, letter
A and C.
A and C. Roll call?
Ah, shit.